You finally decide to face reality. You open a debt calculator, enter every balance you owe, and wait for a number that somehow feels manageable. Instead, the screen tells you something shocking. 10 years until you're debt-free. At first, it feels impossible. You stare at the timeline and wonder how a decade of payments could still leave you with so little progress. But the truth is that the slow pace of debt repayment is not a personal failure. It is the way the system is designed. Today, millions of Americans are trapped in the same situation. Credit card debt has reached record highs. Household debt continues to climb, and many people feel like they are running as fast as they can while getting nowhere. The problem is not simply the amount of debt. The real problem is how debt works. High interest rates, minimum payments, and compounding charges create a system that keeps balances alive for years. That feeling of frustration, making payments every month while watching the balance barely move, is not your imagination. It is the mathematical reality of the debt system. And once you understand how that system works, you can finally start breaking free from it. Most people believe that making the minimum payment is the responsible thing to do. Technically, it is. But financially, it is often the slowest possible path to freedom. The average credit card interest rate now sits around 21%. At that rate, a large balance generates hundreds of dollars in interest every month before a single dollar goes toward reducing the actual debt. The hidden trap is that minimum payments are designed to shrink as your balance falls. At first, this feels helpful. In reality, it extends the life of the debt. As the required payment gets smaller, a larger percentage goes toward interest and a smaller percentage goes toward principal. The finish line keeps moving farther away. Imagine carrying a balance of around $6,700. Paying only the minimum could keep you in debt for nearly 2 decades and cost you more than twice the original balance by the time everything is repaid. The lender benefits from time. The longer you stay in debt, the more interest you generate. That is why minimum payments often feel like running on a treadmill. You are moving, but you are not getting much closer to freedom. The solution is surprisingly simple. Choose a monthly payment amount you can realistically afford and refuse to let it decrease. Even as your balance falls, your payment stays exactly the same. This is called the fixed payment rule. Instead of allowing the lender to lower the bar every month, you keep applying the same financial pressure to the debt. As the balance shrinks, more and more of your payment attacks the principal instead of the interest. The results can be dramatic. A balance that might take nearly 20 years to eliminate with shrinking minimum payments can often disappear in less than 5 years simply by keeping the payment fixed. Every extra dollar applied to principal creates a powerful chain reaction. It does not only reduce today's balance, it also eliminates all future interest that dollar would have generated. Before aggressively paying down debt, however, keep a small emergency buffer, something like $1,000. This prevents unexpected expenses from sending you right back into debt. After that buffer is established, high-interest debt becomes the priority because eliminating a 21% debt is effectively earning a guaranteed 21% return on your money. Very few investments can match that. If you have multiple debts, the order matters. Many people spread extra money evenly across every balance. That feels fair, but it is inefficient. Instead, make minimum payments on every debt and direct every extra dollar toward the debt with the highest interest rate. This strategy is known as the avalanche method. A credit card charging 22% interest costs you far more than a car loan charging 6%, even if the car loan balance is much larger. Focus on the cost, not the size. Once the highest interest debt is eliminated, take the payment you were making on that debt and roll it directly into the next debt. Then repeat the process. This creates a snowball effect of increasing payments without increasing your monthly budget. Some people prefer the snowball method, which focuses on paying off the smallest balance first. While it may cost slightly more in interest, it can provide quick psychological victories that help maintain motivation. The best method is ultimately the one you will stick with until the finish line. Consistency beats perfection every time. The difference between decades of debt and a few years of debt often comes down to only a few $100s per month. Finding that money usually starts with a brutally honest review of your spending. Unused subscriptions, delivery fees, impulse purchases, and forgotten recurring charges can quietly consume hundreds of dollars every month. Redirecting that money toward debt repayment can dramatically accelerate your progress. You can also explore options such as negotiating lower interest rates, balance transfers, or debt consolidation. These tools can help, but they are not the solution by themselves. The real solution is changing the system that created the debt. Lock your payment, keep a small emergency cushion, prioritize high-interest balances, roll every completed payment into the next debt. Most importantly, stop allowing your payments to shrink. The greatest reward is not just financial. As debt disappears, stress declines, confidence grows, and opportunities expand. Decisions are no longer driven by fear. The path out of debt is not built on luck, inheritance, or a sudden windfall. It is built on a simple system repeated month after month until the final balance reaches zero. And once that happens, you are not just debt-free. You are financially free.